constitutional right to contest for the position of governor. When Obasanjo said he wants to never be done, we can say that to all Nigerian champions.
Hello there, and welcome to a special edition of Head to Head in commemoration of the International Children's Day of Broadcasting, which is why your usual anchor, Victor Ayara, is not here. But I am Jokea Davisi.
And here there is Ogechiko Meni.
And we're going to talk with a special guest today, Mr. Alex Eyengho, the president of Association of Nollywood Co-Producers. Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you. Good to be here.
What is ANCOP all about? What is it really?
Well, ANCOP is the acronym for Association of Nollywood Co-Producers. The initial words of each of these represents what ANCOP means. ANCOP is an umbrella body for film producers and executive producers in Nigeria. It is duly registered under the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with the Corporate Affairs Commission. ANCOP is also a member of the International Federation of Film Producers Association, FIAF, in France. And FIAF is the umbrella body, the global body for film producers. FIAF is like what FIFA is to football. That's what FIAF is to film producing at global level.
Can you say what Nigeria films or movies can famously compete with films from other climes?
Oh, definitely. The Nigerian movie industry, popularly called Nollywood, has come a long way. We've had our ups and downs, but today, I can't sit here and confidently say that yes, we can compete favorably with films from any part of the world, be it Hollywood, be it Bollywood, anywhere. We can compete in terms of picture quality, in terms of sound, which we have really improved as we speak today. That has been our major challenge in the past, particularly sound. That has been our challenge, and that's why we've not been able to take advantage of the cinemas, the box office. But today, I'm sure you are aware, you must have been following Mommy and Daddy maybe to Silverbed Galleria and other cinemas in the country to watch some of Nigerian films. This was not happening in the past, in some years back. But today, because we have upped our standard, the bar has been raised by some of my colleagues, and today my colleagues are shooting films purposely for the cinemas. And for you to make the cinemas, you must be technically savvy. You must, your picture must be clear, clean, and must be seamless. Your audio must be smooth. And I can tell you that's what makes film all over the world. And on that score, yes, we can compete with film from all over the world.
Recently, you attended a meeting at FIAF. I'd like to know what that was all about.
Yeah, like I said in my intro, FIAF stands for International Federation of Film Producers Association. FIAF is the umbrella body, global umbrella body for film producers all over the world, be it from US, UK, Germany, France, China, India, and all over the world. That is the umbrella body. And it is this body that drafts policies that regulates film production in the world. And like I said, the best way to compare it is to see FIAF as FIFA. FIFA is the umbrella body for football, regulating football. So it's what FIFA is to football, that's what FIAF is to film production globally. And I must say here that Nigeria is the second country in the whole of Africa to be member of FIAF. In fact, Nigeria is the only African country in sub-Saharan Africa to be a member of FIAF. The other African country that is a member of FIAF is Egypt. And we became member of FIAF May last year, that's May 2011. And we were inaugurated in France during the Festival de Cannes. So FIAF is a big deal for any film producing nation in the world, and people struggle, nations struggle to be member of FIAF, because it is at that level that decisions, that policies are drafted that regulates, that guides film production in the world. So we went to Berlin, that was February 12th and 13th, for the General Assembly, the first General Assembly of FIAF. And a delegation from Nigeria went, and I was part of that delegation. As a matter of fact, the second General Assembly, which we will also attend, we hold in May, this time in France, during the forthcoming Festival de Cannes in France. So we will be there for the second General Assembly to discuss film making and producing at global level. That is the essence.
If you have issues in a particular country that produces films, do they ask the governing body of the films in that country to make films about that certain problem?
No, the essence of FIAF is not to dabble or interfere into the modus operandi in various countries. What FIAF just is there to look at bigger picture, to look at issues that affect producers. Producers being the entrepreneurs, being the employer of labor in the industry, is to look at the challenges producers are having. Take for instance the challenge of piracy. That's where FIAF comes in. They are more interested in how can we curb piracy at global level. They look at the issue of funding. For instance, how can producers get more money to produce quality films? You understand? They look at the issue of distribution. We are today in the age of new media. How can producers tap into this new media thing today? So those are the kind of issues FIAF look at, not the local issues that affect their various these various countries. So basically, that's what FIAF does, not to dabble into this thing, but to look at the bigger picture and how it affects their members.
Mr. Alex, what does it take for a nation to be part of the FIAPF?
Yeah, FIAF. For you to be a member of FIAF, you are correct. It's a nation that becomes member, but it is an organization of producers that uses its platform to enable the nation to become a member of FIAF. In this case, it is Association of Nollywood Core Producers, Eyengho, that provided its platform to enable Nigeria become a member of FIAF. You understand? So basically what it takes is for you to apply. It may take years before your application will be approved, because this is an international body, and there is politics of membership too. And that's why it's not everybody that applies that gets accreditation or get approved or get the membership at the end of the day. So we have been following this for quite a while, but eventually, of course, they will do their own check on you, how strong you are in your country. They will also look at your movie industry, how strong it is. And you will agree with me that the Nigerian movie industry, popularly called Nollywood, is a brand on its own. And it's a brand not just in Nigeria, it's a brand all over the world, in US, in UK, in Germany, in France. So it is, I'm sure the other members of FIAF knew that they are missing out if Nigeria at this level is not a member of that organization. In fact, I doubt if they could have really called it a global organization for film producers without Nigeria being there. I'm sure they realized that, and that's why they granted us our membership last year.
What does Nigeria as a nation, what do the populace of Nigeria stand to gain from this association with FIAF?
Yeah, a lot. First and foremost, like I mentioned before, the issue of piracy. You know, piracy is a global problem. It's affecting us in Nigeria. It's also affecting them in Hollywood, in UK, And everywhere, a whole lot of Hollywood films have been pirated on the street of Nigeria, sold for less than 100 naira, 150 naira. The same way, Nigerian film, Nollywood content are sold on the streets of other countries in the world. So, FIAF, as a global body, which has a strong link with the United Nations, which has a strong link with the European Union, is an NGO on its own, and it is FIAF, through its platform, through its tentacle, fights piracy headlong through the WIPO, what we call WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, which is domiciled in Geneva. So they fight piracy. They help local film producers to look for ways in fighting piracy. It may not be very easy to eradicate piracy, but with a collaborative effort with organizations like FIAF, the issue of piracy will be drastically reduced, if not completely eradicated. Also, there is a possibility of having funding, which is very critical for a film producer, because a film producer or executive producer, your major task is to source for fund to enable you mobilize to location, because it is the producer that pays the bill of every other artist or participant in any production, be you the director, the cameraman, the actor, the editor, the makeup artist, anybody. It is the producer's responsibility to source for fund. Whether you want to go to bank and get loan, whether you want to go to your family and raise the money, it's the producer's responsibility. So it's the producer that is the employer of labor. So the issue of funding is very critical to the producer, and FIAF has a major role to play in opening up the platform for producers, broadening the horizon to enable them.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. We'll be taking a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about more on Nollywood. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back. Thanks for staying with us, and we will continue our special edition of Head to Head. Now, Mr. Alex, you've been talking so much about this privacy issue. What exactly is piracy?
Well, piracy, simply put, so that you understand, is stealing, is intellectual property theft. Just like you have armed robbers who are armed, they come to your house, banging, cut away your property, you know, TV, cars, and all of that. Piracy is when you, as a creative person, take the pain to create a work. In this case, in our case, a film. You understand? It could be a book. It could be any other thing, any creative work. And another person takes that your work without your permission, without your authority, duplicates it and starts selling it and making all the money without a dime coming into your pocket as the owner of the work. That is what piracy does. And piracy kills creativity. It discourages creativity. And that is why it is a global problem. And it's been attacked at that level. It is worse than armed robbery. It is worse than drug pushing. It kills talents. It discourages talents. And that is why countries all over the world, including FIAF, are fighting it headlong. Simply put, that's what piracy is, and that's what it does.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. And how does piracy affect producers?
Yeah, like I said, it can push producers out of business. Because if I'm doing, if I create a work, if I shoot a film, maybe I use 20, 30, 40, 50 million naira to shoot a film. Maybe I got a loan from a bank, you understand, and I release the film into the market. Bank, pirates feast on it, make all the monies, send it to every part of the world without my permission, without my consent, and not a kobo of the money they are making comes into my pocket. Do you think I would want to take such risk again? I would not want to take such risk again. I will be discouraged from producing films, and people like you will not see films to watch. That is what it does. That is one of the many things it does, and that is why we in ANCOP and FIAF too, we believe that the only way to fight piracy headlong is to criminalize it, is to make it a criminal offense, possibly capital offense. Because, like I said, it is worse than armed robbery, it is worse than drug pushing. So if those armed robbery and drug pushing can be seen as a criminal offense, why not piracy? If you are caught pirating a film or any creative work, it should be seen and treated as a criminal. The law guiding piracy, particularly in Nigeria today, is too lenient. If you get caught, you only pay a fine. You may end up not going to jail. It's seen as a civil offense. And that is why, and that is what is giving the pirates the effrontery to keep doing it, because they know, wait a minute, even if we get caught, we'll just pay some fine and we'll get back to business as usual. And that's why we're saying the law should be criminalized. It should be seen as even worse than armed robbery or drug pushing.
How does the Association of ANCOP with FIAP help Nigeria economically, like in terms of finance? How does it help us? Yeah,
like I said, mind you, we're only admitted as a member last year. In fact, we're less than a year now, and that's the essence of the meeting, the General Assembly. In fact, after the General Assembly, the FIAF executive held a separate meeting with Nollywood the following day, because they really want to intervene. Nollywood is big, bigger than we see it in Nigeria. It's even bigger outside Nigeria. The way they perceive, it's a very, very strong brand. Nollywood is a strong brand all over the world. People respect Nollywood, and people are looking for ways to come in. How can they intervene? So there are ways they can intervene, and we have discussion with them. They can come in terms of funding, like I said. How can Nigerian film producers access various funds that are lying there all over the world, from the UN and EU? How do we assess it? Most of these things, we don't have the information. With a body like FIAP, the frontiers will be open for us to tap into this fund. And that is for funding. And like I said, piracy too. They are going to help in piracy. And then the issue of distribution, which is also a major challenge for a Nigerian filmmaker. After shooting your film, how do you distribute it without pirates feasting on it? And like I also said earlier, this is the age of new media, which we have not tapped into in Nigeria, which we have not tapped into at all. The internet is there, a whole lot of things is happening in the new media, and also the issue of training and retraining, and that is very critical, because FIAF members, I'm sure the second quarter of this year, they will be coming to Nigeria to train and retrain Nigerian film producers, so that they will know the act of producing. Because the producer is the #1 man on any set. He brings together everybody. So if the producer gets it right, the director will get it right, the actors will get it right. There are a lot of complaints about Nigerian films, Nigerian indiscipline and the rest of them. If the producer is disciplined, every other thing will fall in place. So the issue of retraining is also one of the things we will benefit.
How can you make films to be less violent for little children to watch?
Well, I'm sure film is a creative thing. Someone has a script, a writer wrote a script. At times it may even be an adaptation of a book. There are films I believe children shouldn't watch. And that is why films are classified. There is an agency of the government which is called National Film and Video Censors Board. It is their responsibility to classify film either 13, PG. PG means parental guardian. That is, you as a child should not watch it alone. You should watch it in company of your parents. There are some films you should not even watch at all, and those are films classified 18. If you are not 18, you shouldn't watch it. You can watch any film that is classified G. G means general. So for me, it may be, I cannot sit here and say, oh, we will, it's possible to just make a pronouncement here that, okay, henceforth, Nigerian film producers will stop producing films that have violent content. It's pretty difficult because that is the work of the censors board. It's for us to shoot our film, it's for censors board to classify the films, and so that children will be properly guided. And here too, the parents have a role to play. Parents must show interest in what their children watch, particularly kids who are below 18. And most parents just leave their children to watch any sort of film at home. So the parents, there is parental guardian here, and that is the family, because family is the first sphere of socialization. After family, you talk of the school, the church, and other things. So the family has a major role to play in the kind of content their children have access to.
I've noticed that most Nigerian films don't have much for children. I mean, they have things about corruption, nationalism, urbanization, and all these other problems that are happening. But what about for children? What about films that help with children's problems in everyday life?
Well, that again depends on the producer. You know, most time a producer is a businessman. It's an entrepreneur. And any businessman is going into a business to make profit. Yes, there's a creative aspect of it. But the primary motive, one of the main motive, I want to invest, say, 50 million naira to shoot a film. I want to make my money back. I want to look at it. I am not saying that if you shoot a children-oriented film, that you will not make your money. You will. I've seen a couple of films, children film that you can call children film. I've seen a couple, and I know, yes, it may not be much, but I've seen a couple. But the primary motive of any film producer, and most of our films anyway, have children. We have kid actors, kid actresses, they act in most of these films. So children are participating fully in Nollywood. Yes, it could be better, but they are participating. And also, there are other government agencies that can take this initiative. We are independent producers. We are independent producers primarily. We want to, like I said, make money. We have the government agencies, Nigerian Film Corporation, NFC, which is supposed to be the government